Hello, my name is Connor. 今日の動画では the Mercedes-Benz の mutist beach について話してます。
Hi there, it's me, Future Connor. I had to do 3 takes to say the band's name correctly, and I got it wrong each time, apparently, so I'm gonna say it correctly here now. This is the album called Mutist Beach by the artist the bercedes. Thank you so much, and please enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you.
So the bercedes are a very interesting band. First off, love the name. Pretty clever, pretty fun. They call themselves a J-pop band. However, this is like the nastiest, punkiest, hard rockiest J-pop I have ever heard in my life. And while you could maybe say, well, baby metal is kind of J-pop, sure, I would actually probably agree with that. However, this isn't J-pop. It's hard rock. It's kind of shoegaze, it's definitely punk, and it's also noise rock. However, what's really interesting is that this album and their music in general has the pop chord progressions and choruses and just melodies and rhythm, despite their kind of musical packaging containing none of those very obvious J-pop traits. As usual, I'll start off by talking about the members, of which I couldn't really find much about. I tried looking on my usual websites, I tried looking on some Japanese websites too, and it was on one of those Japanese websites where I found the names of 2 of the members, but I don't know the name of the drummer, and I was hoping maybe their Twitter account would at least mention them, or it would be following their individual accounts. It does not. They follow 0 people on Twitter. So I don't know the name of the drummer, so I'm just going to refer to him as the drummer throughout this video. However, what I can say is the names of the other 2 members. The other 2 members include Kazunare Wada on guitar and vocals, and also Noribue Tanaka on bass. As I kind of alluded to in my intro there, the genres that this band covers with their music is really just all over the place. There is punk, noise rock, indie rock, garage rock, and they actually also incorporate some elements of jazz too. Damn, that was a lot to get through. So after everything we've talked about so far, I think I've come up with the perfect way to describe this album in particular. Do you remember in the early 2010s, there was this infamous hip-hop duo called LMFAO. And you know how they had to apologize for party rocking? This is that party rock anthem. This is the grooviest and funnest and chunkiest sounding rock I've ever heard in my life. And it is so much fun, and it is unapologetic in its sound, and it is abrasiveness to its core. I think if you wanted me to explain that in a little bit more of a conventional way, I can't quite do that. However, the closest I can get is by calling this album what I am now referring to as dancehall crunch pop, because this album is a monstrosity in the best way possible. And I feel like the song that is most indicative of this style is the second one on the album called Only God Discotheque. This is so crunchy, it is so feedbacky, it is just so, oh my god, this thing is insane. But it's fun, it's really danceable. And I think that's why they kind of consider themselves a pop band, because it has those very structural pop elements to it. And I feel like that's very apparent in this song in particular. And oh my god, the drummer is just riding the crash on this thing, and it is so cool sounding. I am really surprised that this band only has 3 members in it, because they are making a ton of noise with not a lot of people. Now, you might have noticed that this was the second song, but I'm talking about it first. And that's because I'm actually not a huge fan of the opening track, which is called Sad Song. I do like it, but I feel like it's too slow of a start for an album of this caliber and of this kind of energy and voraciousness. I think it's very strange that they chose this as the opener, and I think it really fits maybe later in the track listing, maybe even as the final song. So yeah, I just felt like it was not very representative of the album. With all that said, Only God Discotheque really sets the stage for the rest of this album, and it does it really effectively too. The following songs are called The Fire, Ballad, and Kao, with Kao meaning face, which is also my favorite song on the album. It sticks in my head so well, it's so memorable, it's so catchy, fantastic dance hall crunch pop song. I think this has my favorite hook on the album, and I particularly like the drum work on the song too, and I wish I could credit whoever came up with it because it rocks. It is so cool. The Fire is a really fun song too that is very similar to Only God Discotheque in my opinion, and I think that's primarily because it's got more of that crunch, more of that compression, and I really like the line delivery on this song too. I find that the lyrics are really sung in a kind of scorched way, which I think is very appropriate given the title of this song. And while I do like this song and I think it's got some real merit to it, it's maybe my least favorite on the album, but it's by no means a bad song. Just not really one of the tracks that I go back to every time I listen to this album. I just feel like, and no pun intended, this song has a lot more heaters on it instead. My second favorite song on the album is called Tilt-A-Whirl, and this thing is so cool. Again, I love the chord progression here, and the pre-chorus and the main chorus are just so awesome and fun, and God, I love this song. It's so cool. Speaking of my favorite songs, another is called Tokyo Hyohon, which means Tokyo Specimen. Fantastic chorus here, catchy and fun, and the song also features fantastic switches in tempo and the energy. For example, sometimes the song will just be going absolutely crazy, and then sometimes Kazunari will switch to a much more simplistic 4/4 guitar rhythm. It is very noticeable and dramatically changes the vibe of the song, but then it kicks right back up, and that's probably one of my favorite things about this album. Like, it's just towing such a fine line, but it never falls apart, and I feel like none of the songs really spoil, you know? They are all just so focused on this very hyper-specific sound that the band is going for, and they like nail it on each song. It's really incredible. The final two songs are called Sanaka and Meltdowner, and they're very well placed in the track list in my opinion. Personally, I'd still prefer Sad Song as the final track for this album, but I think these two still wrap it up pretty well. They're slightly chiller songs compared to the kind of rambunctiousness of the rest of the album, but they definitely still pack a punch in their own way. Also, the guitar riff on Meltdowner is super hard. I love that so much. It sounds sick. So also on a side note, the title for Sanaka is wrong. So let's break out the Japanese grammar lesson notes. So on the English version of Spotify, the song is using the alphabet characters. That is called Romaji. So you see it's Sanaka on Spotify. Well, according to the official track listing by the band on Twitter, the actual song is called Seinaka, which means your back. That makes a lot more sense given the lyrics of the song in my opinion. I'm not sure what Sanaka is. I think it could maybe be someone's name. Maybe if you kind of fiddle with the kanji for someone's name, but it's definitely not like a common word, or maybe not even a word at all based off what I could not find in a Japanese online dictionary. So they need to fix that. Hi there, the bercedes menz. You guys should fix that, because I mean, I can't, but I can point it out. So there you go. Those are the songs. And now let's kind of get into my main thesis here. Right off the bat, I think it is just remarkable that this album is so crunchy and crazy sounding, but it never, and I mean never, buries anything in the mix. In my opinion, the mixing on this album gets an A+. It is magic and beautiful, and I don't know how they pulled it off. The mixing is immaculate. I just really love how the album features this very flashy and stylish aggression. I think that came out so well in the end product. Earlier in this video, I kind of mentioned how this has some elements of jazz, and I still do feel that way too. I feel like it's almost verging on acid jazz in a way, in particular. However, it still retains that real, I guess, punk flavoring. And I think the song Tilt-A-Whirl is a really fantastic example of this, and is kind of what made this idea pop up for me originally. Yeah, the bercedes menz view themselves as a J-pop band, and honestly, I see the vision. I think this is some of the poppiest noise rock I've ever heard in my life, so I think they're definitely on the mark with that one, and I would kill to see this album played live. I think it would just be so much fun and just crazy. So that's on my list now. So while I did enjoy this album, I don't know how often I'll be listening to it through completion in the future. I love Cow, Tilt-A-Whirl, and Tokyo Hyohon, and also Only God Discotheque, but the others are sort of forgettable for me. For that reason, I have to give this album an 8 out of 10. Here's how I view this album in my head. There is one handful of fantastic songs. Really cool, fun, awesome, perfect songs. The other handful is just a lot that are so-so. That kind of brings it down. Because of that, my main concern, I suppose, is that some of the songs are forgettable, and also that the tracklist sequencing and pacing could be a little better. Again, I just do not like Sad Song as the very first song, and frankly, I wouldn't even mind not having it on the album. It's just not my favorite, and I could do without it, in my opinion. Hot take, I know. Again, I gotta bring it up. Mixing is immaculate on this. It is so cool. I am so impressed by how it was mixed, and I think it's a real achievement for this kind of genre. Just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the album. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you thought too. I would be really interested to hear what your opinion is of this very weird sounding J-pop, J-rock album. I think there's a lot to discuss here. So thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day.